There was a murder outside his nightclub, and here he is like, hey kiddo, what do you want for breakfast?
What would you tell somebody who feels like they know you, but there's parts of you they don't know?
People think whatever they see on TV is true. They don't understand the magic word called editing. We also had to deal with the hype of Twitter, and maybe I could have possibly used at that time like anger management.
Have you felt there's been negative consequences?
My father's a very household notorious name, and I feel like I always had to carry the weight of whether he's a gangster or he cooperated, he's a rat.
And I do look at people that have normal lives and never went through any of the stuff that we went through. Yes, it did make us strong, but there's people that have normal lives are strong. So if I had to go pick, I think I would pick a different life.
To certain people who go out and say that the show didn't work, it actually did work. I just at some point had to say, I can't do this to my daughter. I'm not gonna put that label on her.
Has any good come out of growing up in a family and the experience with the show?
This episode of Candid Minds with Dr. T and Friends is brought to you by Mindful Care.
Before Mindful Care, my days were clouded with unease.
Now I manage my day with confidence.
Whether virtual or in person, Mindful Care is here for me when I need it with same or next day appointments.
There's no subscription, and they take almost all insurance coverage, including Medicare and Medicaid.
Real care, real simple, real affordable.
Join the Mindful Care community that has found healing with medication, therapy, and group therapy options.
Begin your transformative mental health journey today.
Welcome back to another episode of Candid Minds with Dr. T. I'm here today with Karen Gravano and Ramona Rizzo, the stars of VH1's hit series Mob Wives. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me here in person today. It's great to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
So we have a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, you know, you're both have been household names, and you've let people into your lives, right? And they've kind of they feel like they know you and they've seen you. Mm-hmm. What would you tell somebody who's listening now who feels like they know you, but there's parts of you they don't know?
Oh, there's definitely parts of us that they don't know. You know, being on TV, I mean, we were on a reality show and it was very real. So I think I've exposed, and so did she, a lot of our lives. But I think that show is also filled with a lot of drama. So we're very peaceful. We're peaceful people. People don't realize that. But, you know, when you're on a show and it's reality TV and emotions are flaring and people that really don't know you have opinions about your life, it kind of creates a perception of, like, for me, I feel like something that I'm really not. Like, since I've been off the show, my life has been very peaceful. I work, yes. Well, no, I mean, I don't want to ever take away from the show. I think that it was definitely an amazing time in my life. It was a springboard, but it's also being less stressful. Yeah, less stressful. Being on TV is like, you feel like you're under a microscope at all times.
Yeah, and how about for you? What do you feel like they don't realize?
I just feel like people think whatever they see on TV is true. They don't understand the magic word called editing. And editing has a lot to do with how people see you. You know what I mean? How they cut the takes or how they maybe implement your voice in different takes and whatnot. So there's a lot of different things that goes into it. And, you know, we were at the hype of the whole reality, but we also had to deal with the hype of Twitter. So that something at that time made me very angry. And maybe I could have possibly used at that time like anger management. Okay. But, you know, not being on the show or just in general, life has been, for me anyway, like less stressful.
What made you angry?
Disrespect. Just also how they, you know, viewed her and made her out to be. And that, like, because, you know, the first season I wasn't on. So watching somebody that you love and truly care about get depicted in a certain light and just honestly get played was just something I wasn't down with.
I was like the villain coming back, you know. They portrayed me like someone that wasn't welcome in New York, but I mean, I was there the whole time. So it was, you know, coming back. We did certain things for TV that was like, you know, behind the scenes wasn't quite accurate. Like, Renee was living with me before she came to Arizona and was staying with me, and, you know, for a while before I ever came back or before the show ever aired. And then it was like, I wasn't welcome. But I get it. It's TV and it has to be done that way. But it's like when the whole season, the whole series kind of like catapults off that. And it's like, you know, all right, enough. That's not what happened. This is.
Do you feel like you need to do damage control now? Like, is there an identity that's out there that you need to now go fix and correct because people got the wrong impression of you?
I mean, listen, it was like, in my eyes, it was like 100 years ago, and we're talking over 10 years ago. It is what it is. You can't go back and rewrite history. You know, some people just have in their minds what they have, and some things you get like in a sense a new rebirth. Like people could see you per se like on TikTok, Instagram, see us as moms. Because again, all that, it wasn't scripted, but it was scripted to the sense how they edited it. We did so many scenes and it was just up to them what they wanted to put out,
Yeah, no, I'm happy the way everything pans out. It is what it is. And if people don't like me, I really don't care. And if they love me, I appreciate that. It's just, it's just when you put yourself out there, I think in the beginning of putting yourself, and let's take reality TV for what it is. Like we're not actresses, we're not movie stars, we're really portraying ourselves. So it's kind of like, you're putting your real life out there to a degree. There are a lot of things like, especially for me, like my daughter was with me all the time, but she was also very young and I didn't put her on TV yet. And she lived in Arizona. I was traveling back and forth. So it's like, oh, I left my daughter to come live in New York. That really wasn't the case. And that I've cleared up a million times, like my daughter's with me now. But while it was happening and you're kind of like stuck in the moment, it was just kind of frustrating. Yeah. So.
Well, then there's also a theme of almost crafting your own identity and it potentially being like hijacked, meaning your last names, for example, right? You didn't have control over your last names, the history of your last names, what comes with that identity. It's out of your control, right? You were born into that. You do what you want to do. Now you got these editors, again, writing in like their own script to your identity. Is there any sense of like loss of control? Like, God damn it, this is me. And like all these people are crafting me to be, whether my last name or being on the show, like you all keep trying to change who I really am.
I think that has to do with like, yes, we put ourselves out there, we're on TV, but anyone that's per se, even if like you're in the public eye for any family member that's committed a crime or something happened in family member's life that's happened due to the fact of social media and all this other stuff, you can't stop it. It's just a machine.
Yeah.
It's just a machine.
So you've kind of come to accept it.
You have no choice. What are you going to do? Who are you going to fight? It's like kind of fighting the government. It's kind of, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? Like hire all this PR for what? Like you could only put yourself out there. If it goes, it goes. If not, like you have to be happy within you and just let it ride.
Have you felt there's been negative consequences?
Hell yeah.
1,000%.
1,000%.
What's that like?
Well,
who should start first? No, listen, for me, I my father's a very household notorious name for who he is. And there's a lot of, things that come with that. And I feel like I always had to carry the weight of whether he's a gangster or he cooperated, he's a rat. And like people, feel a certain kind of way. And it's like they judge me for that. And at this point in my life, it is like I really don't care.
What do you say to the rat comments then?
Listen.
He's a sellout.
At that time, at that particular time when all that happened, I get it. I understand coming from that world where people would want to say that. But it's really hard, especially in today's era, when you have people on podcasts and doing what they're doing, saying, oh, he's a rat for doing what he's doing. But, in our world, it's a very protected, quiet world. You're not supposed to be out there to begin with. And I just think my father in general is like, he'll be the face for that. He's the bigger name, right? Like you always have Sammy the Bull, John Gotti. There's never going to be the mob.
Another era like that.
In that era,
like those
like
legacy,
that.
Those like legacy names,
right?
Bad or good,
so bad or good. So it's like he's always going to be the one in someone's mouth, and it is what it is. It's at this point, it's 100 years, like she said, and it's if people truly feel a certain kind of way, and you truly want to say you're a gangster or whatever, go deal with him.
Well, recently, so I have a company called Spiritual Slinger, and I have like a whole other identity. And I go to pop-up events and stuff like this. And it's very therapeutic for me. Like after I left the show and stuff like that, I got diagnosed with neuropathy. I have fibromyalgia. So I was like, kind of look very zen and just like to chill out. Like, I'm a mom of 5 kids. I just like to just keep it where life is a little bit more calmer. So this happened like honestly 3 days ago. So my girlfriend's like, Ramona, my girlfriend, she does this big cancer event and I wanted to get you to be an eventer. I was like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. She goes, but the lady said no. I was like, oh, they had another like intention candle lady. She's like, no, because she heard about the mob. I go, what did you say? She goes, she heard about the mob. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, at the end of the day, like, yes, I was on a show. And yes, I don't hide from where I came from. But, 2026, what the heck does that have to even do with me anymore?
Right. It's like we've come so far
but
and
some
have
people
done so many things and
are
created.
Still like, I don't know what they think. You know what I mean?
You got 5 kids. Does that carry on to the next generation or is it over?
No, I think totally over. Like my kids are totally professional. They didn't make, in a sense, bad choices like maybe I have in certain areas when it comes to men and stuff like that. They're very happy. They're just on different paths and they don't sit there Like, look, my stuff came from my grandfather. They never got to meet him, so they didn't know from all that. And they just got a taste of little things, so they lived a totally different life pertaining to that. But coming to Staten Island, there's just so much you could not talk about it because it's
I think for me it carried on, like even with my daughter, and she, after Mob Wives, I did a show called Families of the Mafia, which was
2 shows.
Yeah, but I did Families of the Mafia, and that kind of was like where I had to draw the line because it just started now it's pouring it into my daughter. And my daughter is so professional. She does amazing for herself. She's in finance. And I just didn't want to dump this world into her. And, to clarify to certain people who go out and say that show didn't work, it actually did work. I just at some point had to say, I can't do this to my daughter. I'm not going to put that label on her.
How does she feel about it?
She wants to be so distant from it. She's just...
Your 5 kids too?
Oh, yeah, they want nothing to do.
Yeah.
They'll
Even
never
TV.
deny it, but they have their own,
identity.
Right. My daughter's like, I work very hard to pave my own way and my own direction, and I just don't want to always be put in this little box. And especially when we did the show, it was like Families of the Mafia, so it's like the show was trying to make it like, oh, she's doing something wrong or she's following in the family footsteps. And she's actually carved her way in such the opposite direction. And, like I said, she made a lot more money than she made on reality TV in her life. And, I just decided this wasn't, like, I just don't want to be known as like the mob daughter, the mob granddaughter, the mob, like,
right.
I had to step back and say, what direction do I want, especially for her, and like try to push it in another area. So it did kind of spill into her life for a minute.
Has any good come out of all this experience growing up in a family with the legacy that it has, and then the experience with the show? What's the silver lining that you guys see in all of this? I mean, I get that it comes with a lot of baggage, right? You guys are open about it, that it's not easy. Whether you want to or not, you're carrying it, right? You learn how to navigate it. But if you looked at the glass half full, what does that look like?
I wouldn't change it.
Really?
I wouldn't change it. No. I mean, listen, I am who I am today, and I'm proud of who I am. I'm a great mother. I raised a beautiful, smart, intelligent daughter. I think all the things that I had to go through at the time, it was like a mess. I've made my own mistakes, but I had to step back and look at the lessons in it. And it, being from that world, everyone preaches loyalty, respect, and, for me, I have that to my family, right? No matter what people want to say about my father, he's always been a provider, a protector, and he's been someone in my life that always wanted me to do better. So I have loyalty to that. I can't turn my back. And people that think that I should because of what he's done, then actually don't stand by the codes that they push so hard, because, when someone's good to you, no matter what his life and his choices were outside, I was a kid. I wasn't making gangster moves with him.
Right. You're like guilty by association.
Right. And as far as what he is to me, I will, always respect that. And I think that it taught me how to be strong, be independent as a woman. I raised my daughter pretty much as a single mom. Doing the TV show was definitely a lot of therapy, but I came home where people were like, oh, Gravano was such a taboo name. And I came back and said, here I am. Hate me or love me, I'm here, and I'm
putting
just going to do
out there,
what I'm going to do. And whether people till this day still don't like me because of it, it made me realize, like, when my father cooperated, so many people within our community judged that I wanted to be bad. I wanted these people to like me again. So I went out and made mistakes. I committed crime. And when I got arrested, no one's there to help me pick up the pieces.
Where is everyone?
I had to figure that out.
Right.
So when I did, it's just like I'm at the point in my life that you shouldn't really care what people think about you. You just have to be good to yourself, to your people that are around you. And like I said, I have a beautiful daughter. I have a grandchild now. So that's like my,
you look so young.
I'm a Mimi.
Nice.
I'm not a grandma, I'm a Mimi, but I'm very comfortable in my own skin.
Amazing. How about for you? What's the silver lining in all this?
I think I'm torn. There's parts of it that, I loved my grandfather, and I wish it could be a different lifetime where he was my grandfather, but not with the stuff that came with it, because there are still to this day a lot of repercussions. And I do look at people that have normal lives and never went through any of the stuff that per se we went through. Yes, it did make us strong, but there's people that have normal lives are strong. So if I had to go pick, I think I would pick a different life.
But what's normal? Because really people have their own, like, I've met normal people in my life where they have their own issues. It's normal.
No, I know
say.
I know everybody has their own issues, but I'm saying it doesn't involve like, where you have to, go visit your grandfather or your boyfriend, for a jail visit because it's a holiday and stuff like that. I know a lot of people that didn't have to deal with jail issues.
Right. No.
You know what I mean? So if I could take that out, I think with my children, that generation, they have nothing to do with that so far, knock on wood. They are not affiliated with things like that. And I just felt like if I could, yeah, why not? Because I feel like it has a lot of aftermath that maybe per se you're still dealing with.
Ramona grew up with she's very close to her grandfather, but he was in prison for like a big portion of her childhood. Where I grew up, it was the opposite. I was around my father when all that was happening. So I was like, I had him close to me. So when he did cooperate and the whole world came crashing down, it was like I went through my own resentment, even till today, like me and him disagree on a lot of things, but I'm always going to respect that it's my father. And taking him out of the equation, for me, the life lessons, I now understand, like, loyalty. Everyone preaches that, but if they'll turn on you in a second because they care what other people think. Like I have people saying I'm a bad look and they don't want to be around me because they care what other people think. But yet they're, the people that I took care of when they were in their bad places.
I have a totally different outlook on that when it comes to this whole life loyalty and stuff like this. And I'll be like, well, this one did this and this one did that. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you're dealing with, and I hate to say, including my grandfather, a person that's a criminal. So do criminals really have, like, they're not like they're these people that have like, you're putting them on a pedestal or something. It is what it is. So may the cookie crumble wherever it's going to be. So it's not like people are people. You could think the person's the most solid and they're going to just sit there and maybe flip the script. But so it's just about what you have in you with people, like in your relationship.
You believe people can change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
You have all these now people getting baptized, people born again.
God saves a lot of people.
Right.
So in your sense of like these people are criminals, if they're able to change, do you give them a blank slate again, or does their history and their legacy kind of affect your judgment?
Well, I don't judge people because of their actions. Like people are put in situations and they make mistakes. I judge them on how they are to me. But yeah, people do come to terms with, like, my father got baptized, and I think later in life, like he's 80 something years old. Yeah. He got really sick at one point, and he just decided to find his own relationship with God, whether he'll go to heaven or hell. Like, I mean, only God could judge, right? And he's okay with that. But I think a lot of times people turn to religion as a mask, a scapegoat. So it's like, and you could see that, you see that from a mile away on things that happen. And like, even in my situation, like with my father, he does it on his own terms. Like he's not out here trying to make it like, oh, now that I'm this way, or I did these things that everyone else has to do it. This is what I'm doing to work on myself. Everybody has to work on themselves and whatever they feel, whether it's religion, whether it's therapy or whatever it is. And I think that's also you being a therapist, right? A psychiatrist, right? Yeah. A lot of men in that world deal with a lot of things, but they're never going to go see a psychiatrist and they're not going to turn to certain things. So, when you're a person in that world, and I can speak on my father, I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but you've been involved in, crime, murder, prison, everything that he's had to deal with. Whatever he finds is his outlet to make peace with himself, it is. And at the end of the day, still, God's going to judge. Right.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's full of shit or if he's telling the truth. It's up to God.
Between him and God.
So how do you protect yourself dealing with someone like that?
What are they going to do to us? Decapitate us? It's not like how you protect yourself. I mean, we're grown women now, so it really just is what it is, and you got to use your own judgment and stuff. But it's not like, listen, at the end of the day, with people, whatever world we came from, that was their business. Honestly, as we got older, we were privy to it because it hit the news, it hit our lives, we had to go visit. But other than that, even though we grew up together, we grew up a whole lot differently. She knew everything. I didn't.
Yes.
To a certain age. So I was like holding everything in. I was doing my own therapy, writing letters to my grandfather, never mailing them because I wasn't allowed to know he was in jail. It was like this whole shit show.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a lot that I, kept in. But at the end of the day, it's still the same result. Like she didn't see her dad for many years. I didn't see mine for my grandfather for 13 years. My dad also was in prison, so I had to go visit him. So I had a boyfriend that went to jail. So it was like always this stuff that kind of like came back to the same format. And I don't really wish it on anybody. I think it takes a lot out of you, but I also, in some degree, it makes you strong. But strong for what? Like, who gives a shit? Like, at the end of the day, if you're going to sit there and say you could have a life like this and, be with people in 500 Fortune companies and all this other stuff, I would pick that over that, because this comes with a lot of issues.
Like
a lot
baggage.
a lot of mental drainage, because it's like, again, who are you fighting? The government. There were things that it could be like, this is really right in front of you, the facts. And
how do you not let that break you though? Like, where you guys come off as very strong personalities on the show, obviously.
Yes.
And it's reality TV, so as you said, it's edited to be even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, though, I would argue that a part of you is also very fragile.
Very fragile.
That you have to fight. It's almost like you overcorrect, right? You got to be extra strong to keep anything from breaking you, right? So you're coming in guns blazing, no pun intended, to make sure like no one hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you on the inside kind of, if it feels hollow fighting it's you against the world, how do you eventually strengthen yourself internally too to navigate?
By making a lot of mistakes. Like, I had to go through my mistakes, because when I was young and I was 19 and I put up this wall, like, nothing can faze me. This
like
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pump my chest and act so tough. But reality was, I really cared about what people thought, and I was out making mistakes to impress other people. And then when, everything comes crumbling down and you're me personally standing in front of a judge with my own fate saying, why did I do all this? Because I cared about what people think about me. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just strong because this is what I went through. I had to come and make my own mistakes. Even now, like, parenting, like, I wish that I could give my daughter the world. When I was growing up, like we were just talking about it, I had a horse farm. I had, everything was, but now I'm a single mom and I'm working, and I'm like, I wish that I was able to give my daughter the things that I had in life, but I can't because of, certain things that happen. So now it's like, the circumstances. So now it's like, you can't let that break you. It's, you got to learn in different ways. And I think for me, I put myself into work. I've always had businesses outside of Mobwise. Before I came here, I had a spa. I have a spa now. Like, we've always, one thing that our fathers in that world did teach us was work ethic.
We've been working since
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody has a different persona regarding that, but I've been working, she's been working since maybe 13, never like ever. That's a whole other thing. People have this big persona like, oh, Ma, princess. Our fathers we have beautiful homes, stuff like that, but we know the nitty gritty of like, you got to get out there, you got to work. It's nobody's going to hand you anything. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
And how did you strengthen yourself in terms of your core and your self-esteem to make sure that you're not always fighting the fight you against the world?
Well, because it took a different turn when I became a mom. So then there was just no going back from there. So that's like Connie, probably the only time I really became the strongest, because I had these kids. And then becoming a single mom and doing this, like everything was kind of affiliated back to the mob, even like when me and my husband separated. So there was a lot of course, and no disrespect to you, but what am I do? Go to a guy like you? Like, what are you possibly going to do for me?
Go to a guy
maybe you could, maybe you can't. So, but in the time too, like we've had this conversation prior, say if I wanted to, in America, even to go get a doctor, to just go get a regular doctor, it takes like 2 months. Right. You got to get approved. You got to go through all this nonsense.
You got to come to Mindful Care. We'll see you the same day.
Okay, that would be awesome, because mental health right now is huge. There's, especially in New York, everybody in the street committing these crimes, these people are mentally ill. But then in the moment that I'm having like an attack, if I can't get somebody like you, or even if, how long it's going to take for you to kind of like, in a sense, fix me. So I have to like, kind of like, not like, just not buckle up, but I have to like put my back strong and be like, I have these babies and I have to keep forward, because I will not crumble because I had to take care of kids. That was my mechanism of defense. And
we had each other. In our community, there was no therapist. Like even kids, like unless we were like very disturbed and like they knew, then it would be, but no, it was, you can go to your aunt's house, go spend the summer, you have your cousins. And I want to say, and you could see it on Mobwise, because one thing about that show is, minus a few that kind of came in to fill, but we still knew each other. We grew up in a community, right? We all came from a certain world. So even though things to us felt like it might be different, it was like going on with her. Like we had each other. So it was like we had our own little crew of people that were like us. We weren't just different where we needed to go. And that was the thing. If you're having issues, we would talk to each other And it was like, we get past it.
How do you talk about this stuff with your children? Your 5, your daughter?
I mean, I have no choice. Mine played out on TV, and my daughter, like, when I went to Arizona, my whole family got arrested for selling drugs, and my daughter's father went to prison, my brother went to prison, my father. So me and my mother raised the kids, and my daughter, I was taking her from a young age to prison to visit her family.
She was very exposed from the beginning. There was no reframing the reality, basically.
Right. So this was everything that she doesn't want. Hence, coming back around when we started doing the show, and it's called Families of the Mafia, I didn't realize how embedded it was in her that she wanted such a different life. Mm-hmm. And when I had to sit back, she's like, I don't want this. Like, I had to start to realize, like, I grew up in the glitz and glamour of the mob, fancy cars, furs, jewelry. It was, the heyday, even though those men were involved in, and one thing I do want to say, like, when you said, how do you protect yourself from people like that? These men were, to us, regular. They were fathers, they were uncles, they were grandfathers. They were our people, even though they were bad people to the rest of the world, those were still our people. And, I never, still to this day, I mean, my father, me and him, I'm the one person that will tell him to go after himself if I have to. Like, I don't have any fear of that. It's just, when I was raising my daughter, I seen that this took a different toll on her. Like, I when my father cooperated and the whole world turned on me, I wanted to be part of it still because I felt she doesn't want to be part of that. Like, she wants something so different, and I respect her. Yes, and I respect that. So I had to make my decision. Is it a TV show or is it her and, like, what she's going to carry for the rest of her life? So
how about you? Were you able to control the narrative a little bit and how it's framed?
Mine was a little bit different because my grandfather was a big blockbuster movie based on him, the Johnny Brasco movie.
Sure.
So with that being said and done, I told my kids what it was, and that wasn't real life. Like, he didn't die like that. He wasn't murdered. I had to watch him die of cancer.
Wow.
Like, it was a totally different twist. So they got to know what it was with me one-on-one and how much.
They didn't think Al Pacino was their grandfather?
No. They didn't think he was his great grandfather. Yeah. So when all that came to play, but as far as like now, there's a lot of things I do, like, as much I'm different, I'm honest with my children, but there's a lot of things that I protect them from. Like, one day I eventually will drop my book and do certain things, but I don't want my kids to deal with the repercussions in life. Not the repercussions, but in a sense, like, defending comments, or if I was to say everything what it was, I don't want to put them to deal with certain people right now. So maybe when certain people are like, what's the term, pushing daisies, then I will discuss it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm only scared of like 3 people. The FBI, 50 Cent, and God. Like, that's it. The only 3 people I don't want to go to battle with in my life. Right. And I said this for years. That's it. But again, like, something like that as a parent. So if I was to drop the bombs I needed to now, certain people would come out of the woodworks, and I have a son, and who's professional and who's this. I don't want them to deal with that right now. It's like, that's how I protect them.
Interesting. And you mentioned movies and thinking about Hollywood and knowing what you guys have seen and experienced. What is your sentiment towards all of these best-selling movies that depict the mob?
Some are actually amazing, and then some are just so far-fetched.
Okay. So what if you had to pick your best and worst then?
Everybody always asks, yeah.
For me, growing up, I would definitely say Godfather 1 and 2. Like, that's what I seen growing up was the old time mob, like the Italian weddings, the men sitting down in like social clubs. It was very true to the life that I grew up in. And that was the early part. And then fast forward, when The Sopranos came out, I was like, okay, now we're talking. Because like, I was in Arizona and I was so attached from that world. So I would turn on The Sopranos so I could feel at home. And I think a lot of people, which they did an amazing job with Tony, because and I could speak from my household, right? Here they are. These men are like...
You're a psychiatrist on The Sopranos.
Yeah, no.
Just saying.
I
know. These men are dealing with like this stuff that's so heavy outside. Yeah. And, coming home and being a dad, right? Like my father was a dad to me. There was a time when there was a murder outside his nightclub, and I'm like looking at it as a little kid knowing, oh, that's his nightclub, and he didn't really like that guy. It's in my head. And here he is like, hey, kiddo, what do you want for breakfast? And I'm like... You think about it for a second and it's like, no, this man couldn't have done that. So you just don't go there. Like for me, I grew up like my father was like such a role model to me. So I never thought about him like that.
How about Goodfellas, real or fake?
Goodfellas? I like
You
Goodfellas.
say pretty real?
Yeah.
How about you? What's your best and worst?
Well, I always have to go with the classic because no matter what, even like we didn't grow up talking about certain things, but you always had Godfather on because it was the holiday movie. So Godfather, because that's what I grew up with. I'm a big casino girl, minus the drugs. Like I'll own the title of a ginger. Without
she's
a doubt.
definitely a
I
ginger.
Totally am a ginger. I'll own it proudly. And then maybe the third would be possibly Goodfellas. Like just because I liked it. You know, Godfather 3 in my eyes was a total waste.
You stole mine.
Yeah.
You know, it was a waste of energy. Like even the
That's just Hollywood squeezing
The
money.
Irishman was like so. I fell asleep. It was very long, and it's so funny because when you speak about The Sopranos, I never watched it growing up. It's hysterical because I felt like I had that damage from young. So for me to actually watch it, I was like turned off on it, and I try to do different things to take me out of that element. And then I'll go home, and my kids will have it on. I'm like, "What is this shit?" And they love it.
Really, I haven't watched it in years, but
I watch a lot of it on, you know,
Yeah.
like on social media, and I do kind of relate to it now.
Yeah.
So I get it,
Interesting.
but then it was too painful to a degree. You understand? Especially like living in
Like,
different
chords.
It was painful like that.
It was.
Your hair is painful to me. You have to push
my
it out.
hair. It was
This
very
straight hair.
painful. It was to a degree. It was because it just brought back certain things, like even the
post-trauma-
father
like
yelling at the
post-trauma.
daughter, "Go upstairs, you're punished." All this shit, like very strict. Like my father was very strict. Hers was very lenient with her. So like it just kind of brought back a lot of trauma.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you guys feel like you have an identity separate from your like we're talking about ton about family here? What's your identity like separate from your family?
Oh yeah, I definitely do. I think being on a reality show that was, it was based around the mob, but it took on a whole other, women arguing, fighting. I think that has created a lot of, people who like me who will watch the show and be like, oh, you're very strong. You're very, you fight for the people that you love. And, I think also being a mom is like you're creating your own identity. Like sometimes I sit back and I look at my daughter and people are like, oh, you did such an amazing job. And it's like, I think that being a good mom is
Are you rewriting a part of yourself?
Yeah.
Which part?
Yeah. I think, I did a book that came out as a New York Times bestseller, and that was Mob Daughter. So I was even talking to my agent the other day, and they're like, what's the next book? Like, let's do something. It's been so many years.
We'll put the link at the bottom.
But not to cut her off. She got the deal before she did Mob Wives.
Yeah.
So
she's very
yeah.
so it's legit.
Yes, 1,000%. That was ready. She cut the deal. The whole 9 yards. The book was done.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I'm working on like some scripted stuff, and
Amazing.
I think for me, there's also a big part of my life that has never been explored because it kind of went from Mob Daughter, you're Sammy the Bull's daughter, to now you're coming back and you're on Mob Wives, and now you have to dredge up all your past about being Sammy the Bull's daughter. But there's this whole in between where like my father and brother went to jail and I went on my own.
Almost like self-discovery, right? That book is kind of your journey.
Yeah, but I never really talked about the in between is kind of the missing link of what happened, because it's just like I've learned a lot in those years of just, life in general and being outside away. Like I left New York, I left Staten Island, I left this community. So I've seen other ways of life and that's why with her, I'm like, I get it. Like this world has definitely created trauma and baggage and everything, but everybody in their own way has that and they have to drag it through. So it's like, I wouldn't change mine. It is what it is. I made it through it and here I am to talk about it. But reality is, everybody has their.
Well, you're shaping it every day. That takes a lot of courage. That's huge. Yeah. How about you? Your identity outside the family?
I mean, as far as what? Like as what they have?
No, who do you feel you are as a person outside of the name that you
that's the
carry?
difference between my family. We never brought it into the home. It was more very hidden. So whatever took place was never discussed. Like I said, I didn't know my grandfather going to jail was hidden from me until I knew, but I had to read a letter out loud that was addressed to my mom. So that's how I opened this can of worms. So from there, then it just became one visit and then didn't see him for like maybe 10 years until he was diagnosed with cancer. So I had to go visit him there. So everything was like, it was never really truly brought into the home. And even after like the elephant was addressed, even new people that we knew getting arrested, we didn't talk about it. So it was totally different. So as far as me, being a new identity, it was just me just becoming a mom and stuff like that. It was never affiliated with anything with that world because it was kind of not brought up in my house.
I could answer that question better than you can for yourself. So she came from a household where they didn't talk about anything. Yeah. Everything was like, if this happened, it was dealt internally within their own house or whatever. Ramona kind of marches to the beat of her own drum, and she's going to go out there and like deal with shit stuff straight on. And that's something that I see, like if issues happen, like she deals with it. She doesn't just put it in a closet, So I think her identity is just to kind of like take life straight on, and whatever is dealt with her, it's like she's going to take it on, and whether it's good or bad, she's going to do what she feels she has to do for herself and her family.
And that was like one of the issues with the show, because the show was like so flip-flopping. It's like, okay, if we have problem today, why do we have a problem tomorrow? Like, let's just do it now. But these girls were like kind of all over the place, and it just created all this drama where at the end of the day, there really wasn't no need for it. Like, but I think that the show, people were just having their own problems, and no shade to anybody, but who was doing drugs, who had, this person in jail, and we had our own problems, but it just was a combustion of this lot of fuckery. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Excuse the French, by design.
Yeah, so it was just a lot going on. A lot of different personality, a lot of different substances, a lot of egos, a lot of shit. A lot of shady shit, a lot. So it's a lot for a person to deal with.
And now you're doing a lot of great work. I know you have your business, and you mentioned fibromyalgia. You're doing advocacy work there as well.
I do that with some people. Just really depends, because a lot of people, which I'm sure you know it when you're a line of work, just want to claim that because they just want to attach themselves to something. What is that, Munchausen's? And they say like, so it
becomes their identity for some people.
And I get a lot of people online like, oh, and then after talking to them a little bit, I'm like, well, what's your symptoms? Or, like, especially because I also have neuropathy, like, well, what made you blow up today? And after you talk to them, like, they just want to be your friend. Like, you get a lot of weirdos in this situation, people that just want to create something to kind of connect to you. So it's like, you kind of like have to like go through it to see who's real and who's not. I'm always down for a good cause with anything if I believe in it and it's legit. So, but sometimes it takes.
What about your company? Where's that headed now?
Like I said, when I got off the show, I just needed to like veg out. You know what I mean? Because it's like so many different things, and it was a lot of emotional things. Because it wasn't sometimes even just about the girls. It was like about the things that happened behind the scenes, and backstabbing, and certain friends that you thought were friends and whatnot. And it kind of really hurt. So it just like, you had to like kind of take yourself out of an anger part. And I just started meditating, and I always had a love for candles, and I was always into like manifestation, the evil eye, the whole 9 yards. I lived in the Middle East for a while. Yeah, nice. That's my only tattoo I claim. And, at the end of the day, I just got into this whole candle thing, and it just made me just be very calm. And I have a whole different identity. Sometimes these identities kind of like intertwine. And I have to take a deep breath. Like, there was an incident where I was at an event and people knew me as spiritual slinger, and I had to take a breath. And it was also Holy Week with Jesus. Okay. And I was really proud of myself. I'm not going to lie, because these people don't know Ramona, who could be, depends where you push her. They know me as spiritual slinger, and I had to keep it truly professional. And I was very proud of myself. So a lot of growth. Without any medicine.
Amazing.
Without any medicine.
You didn't fling your candles all over the place.
No, I did not.
You kept it good, yes.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. Honestly, I went home and was very proud of myself. I told her I was super, super proud.
You should have brought some candles here. We would have had some candles in the session.
This all became like,
Next time.
Yes.
How about you?
So, when I went to Arizona years ago, I became an esthetician, and I always had a spa, which I never really talked about that much on Mob Wives. But
do you have her candles at your spa?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, there we go. I like. Okay.
Yes. So I had a spa. I'm an esthetician, and that's like my love. I'm like the beauty industry. While I was on TV, I stepped away from it, but I always took like advanced classes and stuff. And now I have a spa, the Body Depot in Hazlitt, New Jersey, where we do like facials, scalp treatments. So I'm also a very Zen person, because you're in this environment. Yeah. And it's crazy because like people will come because they've seen me on the show, because my partner wasn't on it, but and they think I'm like a psychopath, right? Like, and they're like, you're actually going to do the treatment. I'm like, this is me. I'm very calm. It's funny because even when we started Mob Wives, I was in Arizona. It was very different. I was out of my element. And the production came out, and they were like, we didn't know if you were high, smoking weed. You were just so zen. You were laid back. And then you came back to New York, and it was just like,
Like
bring
a
it on, firecracker. But when you put people, in different elements, it's like your true personality can come out. But yeah, I'm an esthetician and skincare, and I love it.
Nice. So looking back, any regrets looking at the show and your identity there with the identity you're describing now? Do you regret anything?
There's some people I wish I would have smacked right in the face back
Really?
then. I'm hoping maybe, there is. So sometimes I was the one that had fights the whole season with one particular person on the show. But, now after everything, you kind of see like people just aren't who they say they are. So yeah, maybe there's one or two I wish I would have just smacked in the face while
and
we
you
were filming.
and you never got closure. With
Closure?
those people. No, with those people. You never.
No, you can't get closure with people that go all over the place. One minute they love you, or you can't get closure with people who care what other people think about them so much that they'll put judgment on someone else. But
or people's egos are worth more than friendships. That's basically
it's hard to get closure, and it's not even worth it. Like I have my own closure. I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if there was something I could have did different. I mean, if I didn't have to fist fight on TV, then but that wasn't what the nature of that show was. And it was great. And it made us very popular, very successful. So, I mean, if I have to do that, I might as well. And there were certain people that I wish I could have smacked.
It is what it is. How about you? Any regrets?
Maybe I was honestly too nice to some people. People took me as a bitch and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I did a lot of favors for people that if I had to go back, I probably wouldn't have. They didn't deserve that because, you fast forward and they don't give the same respect. But then again, you can't really expect certain things from people. You can only expect stuff from yourself to do right. So I guess I kind of teeter-totter with that. I did what I felt was right at the moment, and it's cool.
Yeah.
People got to live with themselves, not me. I'm good.
Well, I appreciate that. I think you guys have come a long way in terms of your own journey and your own discovery, which is huge. And I enjoyed hearing your story and you guys coming here today. It's not easy to sit down with a psychiatrist. Some people are intimidated, but you guys are awesome. So we're going to play a quick game. I'm going to give you guys 5 scenarios. You guys are going to tell me how you would handle that scenario if you're going to sit them down or you're going to whack them. All right?
Oh, God.
First one, you catch someone cheating in a marriage.
Whack them.
Sit them down. Because maybe we got more than, in the divorce agreement than killing them. I gotta weigh my odds here. I gotta whip out the paperwork, see what makes sense on paper.
All right. Someone's failing out of school.
Oh, sit them down.
Sit them down. I'm not killing the kid.
Yeah.
Don't kill our blood. Well.
All right. You have a business deal. Thought the guy was loyal. Discover that he's actually not.
Whack them. I'm telling you, business.
I should have whacked him.
Yeah, should have. There's a couple people I should have been whacked.
Should have whacked. Should have went with that.
Your best friend actually is has your back. Is trying to tell you something that you refuse to believe. You deny it being true. They're trying to convince you it is. How do you handle that? And then let's say you later discover it is true.
What?
I should have listened to you, bitch. That's like our everyday. You're like, girl, I told you so.
I told you so.
All right. Last one. Money's missing.
Whack 'em.
But who
I don't
took
care.
the money?
As long as it's not our kids. Yeah. Anybody else. So we could get it. Yeah, why not?
How do you know?
If he said money's missing and you could prove it, that's it.
The proof. That's the part though. The proving always gets you. Like you don't know, money's missing.
Then screw it. Money comes and goes. It'll come back.
I feel like money.
Some guy seems shady, but you don't know.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. I would never whack someone over money. Unless I knew for a fact.
Yeah.
But
a lot of times you can't trace it for a fact.
No, if it wasn't true, then
right.
Yeah, let it go. It comes back.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today for another great episode of Candid Minds with Dr. T and Friends. We hope to see you back here again soon.